G'day, this is Mr. Thompson. I'm going to show you how to turn your assembly into a drawing with dimensions. What we're going to do is we're going to start by having our assembly open, and then I'm going to go File, New, again clicking up here, not clicking here, clicking up here, and make sure that I've got my metric folder open, and under my metric folder there I can find the drawings. And I want an ISO.idw drawing. So I'm going to create that. And I'm just going to check the drawing size. So if I right click on my sheet there and edit sheet, and it is A3, which is what I want. That's good. I could change the name of the sheet if I want, but I'm not going to do that. All right. Now, before I do anything else, I'm going to go and change this title block here and just add some information in there. So let me just right click up here where it's got drawing 4, and I'm going to edit the eye properties, and I'm going to give it some information here. So just give it a title. This will be my CO2 Dragster. That'll do, CO2 Dragster. And the author will be Mr. Thompson. So you'll put in whatever your name is, of course. Company, let's put in our school, Faith Lutheran College, and I think that'll probably do. If I apply, you can see now it's put in some useful information there. There are some other fields you can fill in there. You can come over here and you can put some other fields in there if you want. I'm not going to bother with those, so that'll do me, just those ones. Okay, now I'm ready to place my view. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to choose base for base view. So I'm under place views. I'm going to choose base. And now it's actually automatically, because I started with my assembly already open, it's started by assuming that I'm going to want to draw my assembly. So I didn't have to go and find the file because I already had it open. Now, I want to rotate that, so I'm going to use my view cube over here, and that's, well, you know what, I think I like that. So that's going to be my base view. What else can I select over here that's useful? I want hidden lines. I don't want to hide. I don't want to remove hidden lines, and I don't want shading. So I'm just going to click that left button there on style, let's see. I'm going to, actually that scale's pretty good, 1 to 2. If I choose 1 to 4, that's too tiny, and 1 to 1, well, that's too big because I want to put some other views in there as well. So let's just stick with 1 to 2. That was good. So I'm going okay. Now if I come up here, you can see when I hover over the view there, it gives me those red dots. So I can grab those red dots and move the view to wherever I want it to be. I want it down there. In fact, probably about, I don't know, about there. Okay, so that's my base view. Now I want to put in some projected views. So I'm going to click on projected, and I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to put a top view or a plan view up there, and I'm going to put a back view or a rear elevation over there, and there's an isometric view here, so I'll put that there, and I'm going to right click now and create, and that creates all of those views. Now, maybe they're not in the right spot. That's okay. I can move them whenever I want to, just by hovering so I get the red dots and then moving those red dots around. This view here, that's a bit dumb to view from underneath. I'd rather view from on top. So let me just double click there, and I can click on any one of these corners here, any one of these corners of this cube, to get the view that I want. Now I think that's the view that I want there. So by clicking on that particular corner there, you can see like that. So that's the one I want. So I'm going to go okay there. All right. Now I'm going to add some dimensions. And in fact, you may have noticed I've got my spec sheet here open. That's my specifications, and I'm going to label those specifications, or the ones that appear on my drawing anyway. I'm going to label those specifications on my drawing, so when somebody looks at those specifications, they can see where that specification is on my drawing. All right, so let's get started. dragster body length. So I'm going to come over here to annotate, and I'm going to use dimension. So by doing that now, let me think, the dragster body length, which view can I see the dragster body length the best on? I think this one here is the one that's going to be easiest to annotate. This one's sort of the front of the dragster, sort of hiding behind that front wheel. So I think this one here gives me the clearest shot at putting that dimension in. So dragster body length, so that's from the back here. So I'm just going to hover over here. I can click any of those dots there, doesn't matter, and click a line or a dot on the front there, and then I can move up to here and I can click on that. Now, you know what? I'm going to click OK. Now, that's not really what I want. That's 249.43. That comma means point. Now, I don't like that. I'd rather have a decimal point rather than a comma. So I'm going to change a few things. So if I come up to, let's see, Manage, and if I go to Styles Editor, this is a bit cryptic. I'm not sure why it's so difficult to work this out, but anyway, it is. So if I go to Styles Editor, and you can see here, the style that I'm using is the standard, the default standard for ISO. Now, I want to change the way I do dimensioning. So I'm going to come down here and open up dimensioning. And that's the style that I'm using. Can you see how that correlates with that? That's the default standard ISO, and this is default ISO. So I'm going to click on that one there. And I'm going to choose, well, I do want millimeters. That's good. For a decimal marker, I want a period, not a comma. So I'm going to change that. Now, I don't really need to measure to the nearest hundredth of a millimeter. That's a bit over the top for this particular project. I'm just going to choose no decimal places. So in other words, it'll give me precision just to the nearest millimeter. Same with degrees. If I want to measure angles, I want those angles to be just to the nearest angle. So I'm going to put 0 there. There's some other things there, but I'm going to leave those. I'm going to save and close. Okay, so now can you see that dimension now is a lot better? It's just got 249, not 249,43 or anything like that. So I'm happy with that. All right, so that's, now I want that to be, let's see, I want to designate that as, that's measurement A. See how that's specification A, so I want to make that measurement A. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click here, and I'm going to, actually it might come up like that, but if you click on this inspection dimension, I'm going to make this an inspection dimension. And I'm going to give it the label A, like that. And when I click OK, you can see now it says A 249. So over here, A, the dragster body length, needs to be between 200 and 305 millimeters. And so it is, 249. So that's good. Okay, next thing. Dragster body height at rear with wheels. So I guess what that means, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. What I want is I want the height from there, from the top part of the dragster to the bottom part of the wheel. So if I come back to annotate, click on dimension, and I'm just going to click on the very top there and the very bottom there and come out to here. Let's see. There we go. So that's 60. It needs to be less than 75. So that's good. Okay, I'm going to give that a label. I'm going to make that an inspection dimension, and it's got a label of B. You get the idea? All right. I'll probably put this, actually I'll do a couple more. Now this is mass, I can't do that on the drawing. Dragster body width at axles. So this is D. Now, in fact, depending on the type of car that I've created, but you know what, both of them are 35 to 42 mils. So the dragster body width at the axles, that's that distance there. So I'm just going to click on, let's see, yeah, this is the best view for that, I think. Or you know what, body width might be good to show here. So what if I come to here and I go between that line there and that line there, that's my body width, and that is 42. And in fact, let's make that another inspection dimension, and that is the, like so. Okay, let's zoom back out again. All right. Okay, dragster body width including wheels, 90 millimeters. You know what? this is pretty quick now. I'm going to do this in fast motion. So let's go. So let's do the wheels, or the width. So I'm going to say the width is between there and there. There's my width, 90 mils, that's good. Inspection dimension is E. Okay. Now, what's my next one? Number of axles, I'm not going to do that. Bottom of axle hole above bottom of dragster. So that's that distance from, oh, that's hard to see, isn't it? I'm going to come over here. So from the bottom of that axle to the bottom of the dragster. So let's dimension that. From the bottom of that axle there, okay, that's 9. Inspection dimension is G. Okay. Now, what's next? H. Rear axle hole from rear of dragster. Okay, I'm going to slow down a little bit here. I now need to measure from the center of that point there to, so where is it? Bottom of axle, oh no, hang on a minute. Which one am I after? That one there, rear axle hole from rear of dragster. Rear axle hole, so that distance there, from there to there, I guess. But you know what? I should put some center lines in. When we've got circles, we can put some center lines in. So I'm going to come over here, and here are a bunch of center line options. So I'm going to click on this one here, a center mark, and I'm going to choose, zoom in a little bit, I'm going to choose that wheel like that. And you see that's created a center line there. And here again, click on that wheel there, click on the outside one. It probably doesn't matter which one actually. And there we go, a center line there. And in fact, there's another kind of center line that we could use, which is actually pretty useful. And that is, let me just zoom in correctly. See, these axles here could have a center line as well. But the way we would do that center line is we would click here, center line bisector, and then we choose that line and that line there. And you can see that creates a center line down the middle. So again, say that line and that line there creates a center line down the middle. This one here could probably have a center line as well between there and there. Good. And you know what? This circle here, that could probably have a center line as well because that's a circle. So I'm going to do that. Okay. All right. So now that I've done that, now that I've put my center lines in, now I'm going to measure the distance from, let's see, from the center of that axle to the rear. So that's H. Rear axle hole from rear of dragster. So dimension, this time I'm going to click that center line and the rear of the dragster like that, and that's 42, and the label there is, that's H. Now, here's another thing I haven't mentioned yet, but I should mention. You only want to put each dimension once. So for example, I could have put the width of the, I could have put the width here, and I could have also put the width here, but I don't want to do that. I only want to put it on once. So you don't put, if you've got a dimension on this view, you don't put that same dimension on this view. What you do is you just try to pick the view that is the most sensible view to put your dimension on, and you just put it on once. All right, I'm going to keep going. Oh, wheelbase. Okay, so what's wheelbase? Wheelbase is the distance between these two axles. So let's do that. So between that center line there and that center line there, that's my wheelbase. So let's do that. 190, and that's I. So I. Okay. What's next? Spacer washers, axle clips. I'm not going to show those on the diagram, on the drawing. Power plant depth of hole. Okay, so that's how deep this hole here is. So let's do that. I think I can do that from maybe from here to here, like that. And that's L. L like that. Okay, and M is the power. Oh, this one's pretty tricky. The power plant housing thickness around entire housing. So what I've really got to do here is I've got to try and find the smallest distance between here and the edge of the and the edge of the balsa housing. So I think I'll probably, let's see, what if I click there and there? I think that's going to be my narrowest gap. Oh, now you see that's actually done. That hasn't done. I'm going to escape. That hasn't done what I want. I think this one might be a little bit tricky. You know, I think this one might be one that we have to measure manually, because if I try to put a distance between here and here, it's going to create that distance there, which is the distance from the center to the outside. So you know what? I think we're going to measure that one manually. Maybe there's a clever way of doing that. I don't know. If you work it out, let me know. Talk to me in class. But I'm going to skip that one. All right. The housing diameter, the power plant housing diameter. So that's the diameter of that wheel there. So let's do that. Dimension. I'm going to click there. Oh, now that's a radius. So what if I right click and I go to dimension type and I want diameter, not radius. So diameter, that's better. 19 millimeters. And that symbol there means diameter. Again, that's another inspection dimension. Let's see, what did we say that was? 19.5, well, hang on, N is what it was. So N. All right, moving on. Let's see, lowest point of chamber diameter to race surface with wheels. Okay, so that's from that point there. Oh, let's see if I can do that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this one. Might be another one we'll have to do manually. That from there to the lowest point on the wheels. Yeah, see, that's measuring from the center. I guess we could do that. It's something we'd have to count. Yeah, let's do it anyway. So if I click that in there, that is, it's not actually the dimension we want, but we can use that to calculate the dimension that we want. So lowest point of chamber diameter rate to race surface with wheels. So that's that's 38 there. So that's O. So dimension O. Well, capital O. Okay, and I guess when we actually fill this in over here, what we're going to do is we're going to take that diameter there, or that radius, which is going to be, what's that, 9.5, half of 19. So that radius is 9.5. Take 9.5 off that, and what's that going to give us? 38 minus 9.5. Just using my calculator, that gives me 28.5. So this distance here is actually 28.5, which is good. That's within spec. All right, what else have we got? Screw eyes. We haven't put screw eyes on our drawing. Again, that's a bit of an extension thing. If you really want to do that, I can show you how to do that. I'm not going to make a video about that, though. That's a little bit tricky to create the eyelets. But if you really want to do that, I'll show you how to do it in class. Okay, wheels front diameter. So let's see, so dimension, I'm going to come in closely here and make sure I choose the right one. So that outside one there, and that's diameter, good. So that's 35, and front diameter, that's R, like so. Okay, and wheels front width at surface contact. So that's how wide my front wheels are. So that will be this dimension here, between there and, well, actually, strictly speaking, it's between there and, you know what, I'm going to say between there and there. 3, yeah, okay. Let's do that. And that's going to be, let's see, that's going to be S. The reason I chose between there and there is when we 3D print those wheels, they actually swell a little bit anyway. So the actual contact surface on the ground will actually be that whole distance there, with that little chamfer there. The 3D printing won't be accurate enough to put that in. So there's 3. wheel, the rear diameter of the wheels. Let's come over to here. Let's see. So that's this diameter here. So zooming in a little bit there. I'm going to come here. Let's zoom out a little bit. Oh, so I can see what's going on. I'm going to put that there like that. And that is T. Okay. And then wheels rear at surface contact point. So that's the width of the rear wheel. So the width of the rear wheel there, between there, and again I'll choose that bottom one there. I'm going to come out to here. That's 16. Okay, so now I'm fully labelled. Now, just a few things I should mention. I've already mentioned that you only put each dimension on once. You don't put it on multiple times. And the other thing that I should mention is you always try to put your dimensions outside of the drawing. So don't leave dimensions inside the boundaries of the drawing unless you absolutely have to. Okay, so I think that's it. I guess we just better save that. So we save it. You'll notice that it automatically gives it the same name as the assembly. So I might just want to change that. Instead of assembly, I might just call it CO2 drawing. In fact, I'm going to call it dimensioned. My CO2 racer dimensioned drawing. Save. And we are done. Right, that's it.